News Radio KMAN weather.
Back into the 90s tomorrow and staying there for the foreseeable future. Tomorrow mostly sunny and a high near 92 with wind gusts as high as 25 out of the south. Tomorrow night mostly clear and a low of 74. Thursday sunny and a high near 96. Still wind getting as high as 25 miles per hour. Mostly clear and a low around 77 on Thursday. Friday sunny and hot and a high near 98. Overnight low of 78 on Friday night. Right now in the Manhattan area, 90 degrees, mostly sunny skies, wind gusting as high as 23 miles per hour out of the south. The game is next on News Radio KMAN.
KMAN Daily Weather is presented by Fox Business Systems. How much does downtime cost you and your business? Don't let another second go by. Call Fox Business Systems at 776-1452.
The following is an exclusive presentation of News Radio KMAN, your home for K-State athletics. It's game time. This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
If I tell you something, will you promise not to freak out?
Can try.
Talking to listeners.
Okay.
Because they may not know. It's not concerning. It's just really more of a bump in the road. Got to get to some headlines. A lot of headlines in sports today. We're going to hear from, it was a rare treat today at a K-State football press conference. Going to hear from special teams coordinator Nate Kaczor. Spoke to the media. We'll hear an abbreviated version of that conversation. Talking kickers, punters, returners. Jabroni of the week here in hour number one. We're out at 5:30 in hour number two, though. We will have our seventh question out of 20 leading up to kickoff on August 23rd. K-State, Iowa State in Dublin. Today's question, what is K-State's swing game for 2025? Phone line, text line are open, 785-537-1350. Again, 785-537-1350. We are also streaming live on YouTube. Just search for News Radio KMAN. Hit that subscribe button if you don't mind. And we also uploaded a lot of videos from today's press conference, including conversations with defensive end coach Buddy Wyatt, as I mentioned, Nate Kaczor, special teams coordinator, Steve Stander, linebackers coach. And the reason I'm wearing my good polo today is we also spoke with defensive tackles coach Tuiasosopo. Mike Tuiasosopo was there as well. But we'll hear from the defensive guys a little bit later on this week. We'll of course talk a little bit of special teams, the swing game coming up as well. Shedeur Sanders has been named the starter for the Browns in their first preseason game. I think they play Friday or Saturday against the Carolina Panthers, and that thing is like blowing up like it's some big news. I'm pretty sure Kenny Pickett is hurt. I'm pretty sure Dylan Gabriel's a little bit banged up. And is Joe Flacco going to play in the first preseason game?
He's like 40 years old, so there's that part of it.
I think Shedeur's getting the role by default.
You know, I think he was fourth on the initial depth chart that the Browns put out. He was behind even Dylan Gabriel on the first initial look at the roster.
How about this? A memo going around the NFL today, smelling salts are no longer allowed. You ever done one of those things before?
I have.
I did one time in high school.
It works.
Holy. Like, I've never done cocaine. But to me, I think it's a mix of cocaine and having too much of like a horseradish sauce at one time. Like the horseradish sauce, you can get like a burning sensation
yes, for sure.
through your sinuses. And then, I mean, the rest of the smelling salt is just, you've probably never been more alert in your life.
It'll wake you up for sure.
Holy crap. It is something else. Like, I don't want to ever do it again. Didn't need to do it. I just wanted to try it.
Well, we had it around the my office job last summer just to get the senses going in the middle of the day during the dog days of the summer. And let me tell you, that'll do it.
By the way, do we got the new cam up and going? Yeah, we got the Cole cam finally in your studio. We got you back on camera there on the YouTube, the live stream. So welcome back to putting your face out there. You got the face for radio.
I mean, I'm looking right into it because it's right in the line of sight to look across the glass, too.
Again, our phone number is 785-537-1350. What else today? Oh, how about this? I don't think the Big 12 has officially announced anything, but NBC has went ahead and announced it. So I know what you're probably thinking. Man, I could really use another streaming service so I can watch the Cats in the Big 12 play sports.
Of course. Got to keep track of another one.
Well, here comes another one.
Yep.
Coming out earlier today, NBC Sports announcing that they have reached a multi-year deal to carry 20 Big 12 men's basketball games per year on its Peacock streaming service. And that'll start this fall. The games will include both conference and non-conference matchups. They'll be produced by NBC Sports. They're getting a piece of the pie from Fox. Fox is giving a little bit of what they had the rights to Peacock. Or some money's being traded, for these games. So now let me give you the list on everywhere you can see Big 12 men's basketball this year. The ESPN family of channels, which includes ESPN Plus, ABC, Fox, FS1, CBS, CBS Sports Network, TNT, and now Peacock.
And a little Flow Sports on the women's side of things, too, because why not?
I think, hopefully, K-State on the men's side dodged that bullet this year. No Flow Sports, no Flow Hoops, whatever the hell it is.
Did they have any last year? I know the women did. I
don't recall. I don't know if it was or not. I don't even remember where they played. Like for that early season tournament.
Right.
I want to say they were on a Flow Sports or whatever. The women, yes. The women are going to Cancun, so I would guess that could be another Flow Sports situation. It's not fun. I don't like it. Well, I don't like the Flow. I've been pretty open about that. I don't like the Flow Sports stuff where you got to pay $20, $30 for 3 games. Most of these, obviously, is subscription to cable provider or whatever, satellite provider, YouTube TV, whatever, can get you most of these, with the exception of ESPN Plus and Peacock. Peacock just upped their prices. I'm a pretty big fan of Peacock. I only used to have it to watch the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, and then I'm done with it. I've watched my WWE for the year. But they got a lot of really good shows, and a lot of old shows like The Office, Parks and Rec, things like that. Another piece of news here, and this is the K-State related one. This is you promise not to freak out when I tell you some news here. It seems like, it turns out that K-State has a number of guys that are banged up right now. But it doesn't appear, at least from what we know, it doesn't appear that anything is too serious. Now, there could be an exception there. We don't know the extent of the comeback, we'll call it, of George Fitzpatrick. The left tackle, the starting left tackle, that had that medical emergency a couple of weeks ago and was in the hospital. He's back with the team, but he's been in street clothes. I don't know how much he's honestly doing, but he was at practice today, which I suppose is a good sign. I don't really know how much of a sign that truly is, but at least he's here. He's participating in some way. But let's add a little bit more to that list. We learned from Nate Kaczor earlier today, that special teams coordinator, that right now they're kind of banged up a little bit at kicker. And it's like, how do kickers, they're not hitting really. There's not a whole lot of full pad contact or anything. Like quarterbacks, they're going to protect their kickers. Soreness happens, and it seems like Leighton Simmerling and Cub Patton, they may be out for right now, but this is not a super serious thing or anything. So we learned today that Luis Rodriguez, who is a JUCO transfer, who sounds like he has a leg, I think would be a really good substitution if he's going to place kick field goals, extra points, things like that. Hasn't kicked off a lot in his career, but it sounds like he could add a little bit more leg to the kickoffs and punted a little here and there as well, but he's been mostly a place kicker. He was an All-American at the JUCO level last year as a place kicker. Third best kicker, available in the portal. They pick up Luis Rodriguez. Kicked a 54-yarder last year. Okay. there's some light at the end of the tunnel in this one. But then it maybe some guys banged up in the kick and punt return list of guys. We'll hear more on Nate Kaczor on that. And then we were not at the open practice today. But Kellis Robinette putting out a tweet earlier today stating that Lincoln Cure, yes, that Lincoln Cure, the 5-star from Goodland, Kansas, was seen in a leg brace today. Now, if I just stop it there, what's a reaction? Are we yelling? Are we throwing things? Are we screaming life is not fair? Probably. That's not the end of the story. The end of the story, according to Kellis, he's the only one I saw report on this. Again, we weren't there. But that he was told it's not a serious thing. He was still working out with the strength and conditioning coaches, working out, doing agility stuff, and this isn't like a true serious thing. He shouldn't hopefully have to miss a whole lot of time. Not sure the full extent of that. There just seems to be some bump in the road for a couple of guys getting ready for this 2025 season. Not like K-State can't suit up a team and get out there like it's COVID. You don't know week in, week out who you got, who you have, and who you don't have. But it's a few bumps, and you don't like seeing, of all people, Lincoln Cure on that list of maybe missing a little bit of time because he's got a tweak here and there.
I will say I'm a little concerned about what the kicking situation is going to look like for the season, just based off of you're replacing a guy like Chris Tennant who had a lot of consistency in last season. I assume Simon's going to be on kickoff duty again this year. I think he predominantly was the guy taking care of kickoffs for last season, I think.
He, if I remember correctly, so Tennant was doing it, but Coach made the move and allowed Leighton Simmering to. Was it Simmering? Was it Simon McClannon? May have been Simon McClannon.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think Simon was taking care of kicking off last season.
I think it was a situation where he just wanted to take some off the plate of Chris Tennant.
Right. So I wonder if we'll see that, like if it is Luis who ends up winning that kicking job, which based on the injury to Cub Patton, which that one sounded less of a day-to-day and more of kind of a week-to-week is what it sounded like from Kaczor. I think Leighton was more of the day-to-day, maybe just some general soreness in his legs off of Coach explained it a lot better than I can, and I'm sure we'll hear from him later.
Well, I tell you what we'll do. We'll go ahead and take a break because when we come back, we're going to hear not the whole conversation. The conversation was about 11 minutes. We're not going to play that whole thing. We'll do 4 or 5 minutes, and we'll hit the highlights with Nate Kaczor. I mean, a rare thing. I think this is the first time I've gone to one of these coordinator / position coach press conferences, and Nate Kaczor was available to chit chat, and it was, if you can imagine, it was the longest one of the day. And I was
locked in the entire time. He had a lot of interesting things to say throughout that interview.
Well, he was using interesting analogies. Like at one point, I don't remember what I cut it out of the interview, but he was like bringing up bowling.
Yes,
and you could throw the ball down the lane as hard as you want, but
basically comparing it to punting in that when you're on the drop for the punter, it's kind of like when a bowler is with like the release with the wrist and everything. It was interesting.
The spin of the ball, and I even took the camera. I went down to his hands. He's doing a bunch of gang signs at us and stuff. I didn't know what he was trying to initiate, but I'm sure it made sense at the end. Kind of lost track after a while. I was just trying to get the good shot, if you know what I mean. By the way, that video is up on our YouTube page, News Radio KMAN. Hit that subscribe button. Watch the live stream of the show. And when we come back, we'll go further into special teams. Is it a concern of mine as much as it is Cole's? We're going to hear from Nate Kaczor when we come back. And still to come as well, Jabroni of the Week. And today's question, what is K-State's swing game for 2025? We're at 5:30. Royals baseball tonight at Fenway Park, game 2 of 3. More of the game. Coming up next on KMAN.
This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
What's the number one regret we hear from homeowners? We should have gone with fiberglass windows instead of vinyl. At Midland Exteriors, we hear it all the time. Folks frustrated with vinyl windows from other companies that didn't hold up. Why the regret? Vinyl expands and contracts with temperature changes. That creates gaps, breaks the seal, and lets in water and drafts. Suddenly, your home feels more damp and less cozy. Plus, your energy bill goes way up. Instead of enjoying new windows, you're dealing with a mess and back to square one and paying for it twice. Don't make that mistake. Choose superior fiberglass windows from the start. They stay strong even under extreme temperatures. They won't warp, crack, or bend. They're better insulated for better energy efficiency and last decades longer than vinyl. Midland Exteriors. Do it once, do it right. For stronger, more durable fiberglass windows, call Midland Exteriors at 855-735-8255 or go online at midlandexteriors.com. That's midlandexteriors.com.
I'm Brad Jones, owner of Home of the Flint Hills, where every day is designed with you in mind. We offer a warm, secure, and inspiring home for seniors where independence is honored and your choices always comes first. Experience beautiful, private residences filled with luxurious amenities and a dedicated team of compassionate caregivers. At Home of the Flint Hills, we're more than just a senior living community. We're a place where you're respected, empowered, and free to live life your way. Enjoy the comfort of staying in one place as your needs grow. That's true age-in-place living. Visit homeoftheflinthills.com to schedule your tour today.
In Manhattan, building community means more than bricks and beams. It means innovation and partnership. At McCown Gordon Construction, we deliver feature-focused solutions to projects that shape our region. From advanced research labs to vibrant education, healthcare, and community hubs. We're not just building projects, we're building the future of the Flint Hills with unmatched customer experience and value-driven strategies. We're building for tomorrow. Visit kansas.mcCownGordon.com.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. We all know Pro Bowl nods can be a little misleading, but at what point do we admit the NFL might have a full-blown Pro Bowl problem? Case in point, the Browns added quarterback Tyler Huntley yesterday, and based on the headlines, you'd think they signed a great player, a star. Former Pro Bowler Tyler Huntley was splashed across every outlet. The reality? Huntley made the Pro Bowl in 2022. He threw 2 touchdown passes and 3 interceptions and rushed for 137 yards. Now, he held things together in Lamar Jackson's absence, but that would probably just earn him a solid backup praise in NFL circles. Look, the Pro Bowl hasn't been sacred in a long time. It used to mean something. Now, it's a little more than a quirky stat for someone's Wikipedia page. So the next time we're weighing somebody's Hall of Fame resume, let's not get blinded by Pro Bowler tags. Context matters. Tyler Huntley is Exhibit A. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock, because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Lucky Larry's Landscaping, Larry! Larry saved his business money with a quick commercial auto quote from Progressive. Does it help he's his own marketing manager, accountant, executive assistant, and never been late? Technically, yes, but saving really put him over the edge. So, Larry, give Larry a round of applause. Be your own Larry. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
I'm Cole Dutchendorf with a game sports update. Dylan Edwards was named to his 4th watch list by the National College Football Awards Association Tuesday afternoon. To go along with his selections to the Maxwell Award, Paul Hornung Award, and Jet Award lists, he was also named on the Doak Walker Award watch list, an honor going to the top running back in college football. Darren Sproles is the sole finalist in K-State history for the award, with 3 others receiving semifinalist honors. Daniel Thomas in 2010, Deuce Vaughn in both 2021 and 22, and DJ Giddens last season. NBC Sports announced Tuesday that it has reached a multi-year deal to carry 20 Big 12 men's basketball games per year on its Peacock streaming service starting this fall. The games, which will include both conference and non-conference matchups, will be produced by NBC Sports. The other Big 12 rights partner, ESPN, is already sub-licensing a separate 20-game men's basketball package to CBS Sports Network, on top of a previous 6-game package for the CBS Broadcast Network, plus a package of 15 men's basketball and 13 football games to TNT Sports in exchange for the right to license inside the NBA starting this NBA season. The Royals got back-to-back home runs from Vinny Pasquantino and Maikel Garcia off Jorge Alcala as part of a 4-run 8th, but they were not able to win the game. They'll play tonight at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, what happened to the Royals last night?
You know, they got toasted for like 5 runs in the first inning, and that was about all she wrote. And also a bad send by third base coach in the 8th inning to end that inning, and that was about all she wrote on that one.
Speaking of baseball, the Little League World Series, Northwest region going on right now. Washington and Oregon right now. Washington up 2-0 in the bottom of the first. Boy, these are the good old days.
I used to be so locked in on that back when I was like that age.
Let you know the school year was coming up, and these kids get to miss a few days. Lucky, I wish I was that good. But my thought these days as I watch this and they do the crowd shots, I'm like, man, those parents have to be the worst.
Definitely heckling some umpires.
Like, Little League parents are already just crazy. But you get to this level, and your kids are playing on TV, and some kid just got watched, and I'm sure somebody's yelling about it. Boy, they got to be a nightmare. Got to be a nightmare. All right, back on the game, Mitch Fortner and Cole Dutchendorf. 537-1350 is our number, and we're with you until 5:30. Royals baseball coming up at that time. Game 2 at Fenway Park, and first pitch is at 6:10. Royals trying to get back to an even 500 record overall this season, and still to come at 5:10. Our only segment really in the second hour as we're at 5:30. What is K-State's swing game for 2025? All right, let's continue our conversation about special teams. Earlier today in Veneer, we got a rare treat. We got to speak with Nate Kaczor, who returns to be K-State's special teams coordinator, looking to get better, looking to replace Chris Tennant, who's he got dialed up to return some kicks this year. Let's go ahead and check in right now with Nate Kaczor, who spoke with the K-State media earlier. Let's try this again. K-State media earlier today. Nate Kaczor, here's an abbreviated version of that interview.
How's that kicker competition kind of going at this point?
So right now, Luis Rodriguez, who's new from College of the Canyons, he kicked at COC as a freshman, so he has 3 years eligibility in a red shirt. He's new, and he's been, some of the other guys have some minor injury things, so he's been the most available, is the way I would word that. He's got the most reps, and he's done a really nice job establishing himself here. Not that he's won anything yet, but he's off to a good start, and he's been the most available. That's the truth.
What about Cub? What does he bring to the table?
Cub, we got a good look at Cub before he had the injury, that he's going to be out for a while, and that was the impetus to bring in Luis. But really talented, really good mental makeup, competitive makeup, so like him a lot and hope he recovers quickly, but liked what we saw out of him for sure.
Noticed Leighton Simmering was also non-participant today. He'll be all right?
He will be all right. He's just got, and I know you have all worked a long time, some longer than others in this profession, so I'm not trying to be condescending here, but kickers and punters use a part of their body that is so isolated than the rest of their body. There's just a lot of wear and tear in that area, so when they're a little bit out, usually it's minor. You know, if you get sore in your adductor groin area, it's hard to kick. So yeah, he was clearly a non-participant. So yeah, we're trying to get him back, and he's working with our OPT team to get back as soon as he can.
Do you like having one guy handle everything in the kicking area, or do you like having a kickoff guy, a place kicker, even maybe an extra point guy? How do you handle all that?
Not that the rest of the questions weren't good. That's a good question. So the old saying, jack of all trades, master of none, applies a little bit. But to develop depth, you need to have guys that have place kicking, kickoff, and punting, and holding. All of those things you'd love for everyone on your roster to be able to do. But at the end of the day, I do like it when there is a clear kicker, punter, holder, and snapper. And the backups feel like they are 1B, not 2. So, and here's the reason. For example, offensive and defensive football. I have a corner that's having a hard time running with receiver X we're playing in man coverage. It could be, hey, we're going to play a little zone and try to help you out. Or man, we can't run the ball on this defense, so let's start using some quick game. And I'm not talking about K-State, I'm talking about football in general. You can help players out with calls. Specialists, you're out there. There's no scheme call where we don't have to snap it, hold it, kick it, snap it, protect, and punt it. They're out there, and they got to perform that. And with that comes support. And probably my biggest job is for these guys to feel like I've got their back, this team has their back, but also we got to perform.
Who is looking at handling the return duties, kickoff and punt?
Yes, so we, again, got some guys with some minor things. They'll be back soon, but Bryce Nornberg you've seen in game. Sterling Lockett you've seen in game. Dylan will certainly be used. How much, we'll see. Montario Elston is capable. We have a bunch, Devon Rice you've seen in game. And all of these guys, Devon Rice, for example, when we put him in there against Colorado and he had the nice return, if I could have had a GoPro camera on my head and showed you the look on his face before he went out there for that first one, that look is kind of gone now, which, again, seeing guys kind of grow up. But when you watch Devon practice, and I'm not singling him out, but all these guys, Nornberg and him, they've taken steps. Sterling has taken steps, and they're just more comfortable and mature out there, and all those guys have some explosiveness. But Adonis Moyes, Montario Elston are two of the young guys that have explosiveness, and you'll see those guys probably showing up on teams and other roles as the year goes.
Lincoln Cure returned some kicks in high school. Have you thought about
Hey, you're talking
trying
to
that
this
kid
guy from Scott City. You don't think I've been hearing about Lincoln Cure since he probably came home from the hospital when he was born. So yes, Lincoln Cure, when it's time, we'll be able to help in a variety of roles on our team. He's a really versatile athlete, so you never know where you're going to see him in the future.
I don't know if Lincoln Cure had the greatest blocking at Good Links. I think he averaged like maybe 20, somewhere between 20 and 25 yards per kickoff return, which at the high school level, it's not too bad. But with his skill set, get the right guys in front of him, he's going to return some kicks. All right, so once again, that was Nate Kaczor, K-State's coordinator of special teams. All right. Thoughts right out of the gate, Cole. What do you want to talk about first when it comes to special teams? What do you want to go into?
Again, we talked about it a little bit in the last segment. I'm just slightly worried about what the kicking situation will look like for this season. We've had a lot of consistency over the last really 3 years where you've had a guy that's been dependable game in, game out, and at the middle of the season, you know who your guy is, and you're not losing sleep over who you're going to send out there for point after attempts, for field goals. And I don't necessarily know if that is currently a spot that the team has figured out. I mean, Coach Kleiman even last week said to basically wait a week until we name a kicker or talk about a kicker who has really risen to the top of those charts. Now, is part of that potentially the injuries that we heard about? Possibly. And if that's the case, then maybe it's part of it is just me jumping the gun a little bit and being worried about it too early. Maybe the first time I should be worried about it is maybe after Iowa State, when we actually know what it's going to look like in a real game come Big 12 play. But I'm definitely a little nervous. I'm a little nervous on what the kicking game is going to look like. Not as much the kickoff game, because that'll take care of itself eventually one way or another, but place kicker, what's it going to look like?
I'm not nervous. If I were to say I'm nervous about any area on special teams, it's probably either the punt coverage or the kick coverage. Getting down the field and somebody going to make a play. Just doesn't feel like K-State is this smash mouth of football it used to be in going to make tackles. I would assume probably the numbers are up compared, like, let's say the last 3 years compared to the previous 3 years. I'm sure the numbers are up when it comes to an opponent's average per kick return. And look, the BYU return last year was just a crazy fluke. I mean, it was a hell of a play, don't get me wrong. But that is not going to happen very often at all, where a guy is going to run 130 yards to return a kick and K-State's stumbling all over itself and can't get a hand on a guy. Just a bad luck, crazy turn of events. It was just an ugly snowball of a game where everything was going wrong. When it comes to place kicking, yes, you're replacing Chris Hinnant, who took every kick last year. So it's just a big question mark on who that guy is going to be. It sounds like they got a number of candidates. Just right now as we speak, where we're still over 2 weeks away, we're 18 days out from playing a game, we got a few guys that are sore. All right, get over it. Let's get back to work and figure out who's going to be the guy. I'm not going to be nervous until I see someone go out there and miss a kick that they shouldn't be missing. That's where my nerves are going to set in. And so if that happens against Iowa State, how quickly are we going to the next guy? What do we do from here? Because it's such a big game, you cannot fall apart in special teams. You just can't. That's not where you can lose this game. You're going to kill yourself if you play poorly in special teams. And we saw what that happened a couple of times, how it happened in November, especially that Houston game. Terrible. It just absolutely snowballed, and K-State was killing themselves on special teams because you got a long snapper that got the yips. For punting, Simon McClannon, I'm going to repeat what Tim Everson said earlier today to Nate, to Coach Kaczor. He got better as the season went. I think one of the better stats on his line, the net punt wasn't the greatest because K-State was giving up some decent returns. But I would say that, in his attempts to pin an opponent inside the 20-yard line, he did that 15 times. Just twice did he overboot it and kick it into the end zone. But it's not like I remember every kick. It's not like I remember and recall every special teams thing that happened. So there's some take, there's some give. Not everything was phenomenal. Actually, a lot of the numbers were probably a little bit below average. I'd say across the board, I think special teams should be better. It just doesn't have that same feel over the last 3 years than it had probably the previous 30 years. And I know I'm not enough of a special teams guy to tell you exactly what happened. I just recall in the 2022 season, specifically Texas and Alabama, it just seemed like they figured something out to beat our kickoff teams and our punt teams when it comes to their coverage and going to make tackles. They didn't allow anything to happen in special teams. And it seems like from there on, we've just kind of been trying to figure out how to get back to being just one of the best teams in the country at returning kicks. Just haven't had that splash until we had a return from Dylan Edwards. I'm not too worried about those who are going to return kicks. I think we got plenty of talent to do it. Coach brought up Bryce Nornberg. One of my favorite stories from last year is, it was late in the year. It may have been the Arizona State game, and Bryce Nornberg runs out there at number 10. I'm like, and nobody told me that there was going to be a new kicker back there. And so I saw number 10, and I said, oh, it's Keegan Johnson out there. And right away, he's emphatically shaking his head no, and he's pissed that his name wasn't said right. I was like, oh, God, here we go. So I went back, looked down at my roster. It turns out I needed to take 3 names off of my chart to fit the entire team on there. And one of the names I took out was a really young player that had never sniffed the field for K-State by the name of Bryce Nornberg. And so I learned my lesson there. Devon Rice had plenty of opportunities to return a kick against Colorado, and I thought he was really good. I'd like to see him out there and return some kicks. Like K-State in the back end of kick return should have really good talent where teams are just going to have to kick it just straight deep through the end zone, or we hope we have some upmen that have some good hands and get ready to catch some balls. I just don't think our kick returners and punt returners are going to get kicked to a whole lot this year because I think they could be dangerous. The secret is out on Dylan Edwards and how good he is and how fast he is. So if I was an opponent, I wouldn't kick to him very often this year. I think no doubt, his opportunities are going to be limited, as they should be for how deadly he can be.
I think for returning game, especially punt specifically, I would be okay if there's just, they figure out who's going to be that number 1 guy in the beginning of the year, and then that's just him for the year. I get PTSD with with punt returners from a couple seasons back with the Chiefs when it was Sky Moore and he was muffing every single punt that he fielded. Terrible. Or it was McCole Hardman who came in to replace him and then he was muffing punts. So I just have a little bit of PTSD where for a full season of Chiefs football, I expected every single punt to be muffed. They can find a guy who can handle them well and, take return yards when you can get them, but maybe don't even force it. Just, again, take what the special teams opposing unit is giving you and ultimately just be consistent in not giving the ball away. And when your defense does the job of getting a stop on the opposing offense, to maintaining that possession and giving your offense the chance to matriculate the ball down the field.
And going back real quick to place kicker, Coach Kaczor mentioning in that press conference that they brought in Luis Rodriguez, kid from California, played a year of JUCO football. I mean, he's a JUCO All-American in the state of California. He's got a leg to him. And I even found a little bit of film to him. He can drill the football through the uprights. He's got an underrated leg. You ever tried kicking field goals?
I'm terrible at it.
It's not easy to do.
Terrible.
And I've always been blessed with some, strongest muscles in my body are my legs. I've always had really strong legs. Upper body always needed some work. But the legs just came naturally. And I'd get out there sometimes and try to kick some, not like in a setting, like in an actual football setting, just tried it. And I can't even hit a 30-yarder.
Oh, yeah, it's really hard.
And I shank him like crazy. I'm out there, it's almost like I'm out there with a golf club trying to tee off. Trying to get the big swing, hit it as hard as I can. Terrible at it. It's not an easy thing to do.
It's not.
And it's got to be one of the most nerve-wracking jobs in football. But you got one job and you go out there and do it. From just what I've learned very quickly about Luis Rodriguez, I wouldn't feel bad at all if he was the one who has to go out there early and just go get the job done. Because he's proved before this previous stop he can drill the football. He's got to get over those nerves of playing in a much bigger crowd.
And that would be my last point, is that's the main reason why I'm a little bit nervous about the place kicker situation, is because none of the guys on this roster have legitimate D1 experience, where you look at Leighton, and he's played in a couple of games, but he didn't play at all last year. The last time he played, I believe, was SEMO in 2023 when he had a couple of extra points. I think he made 2 and missed 1, or made 1 and missed 1, whatever it was. He hasn't played a ton. Obviously, Cub is a true freshman, and then Luis has played a lot, but not at this level. So that's another one of the reasons why I'm just slightly nervous about what that situation will look like. But I'm also trusting that it'll get hammered out before the season starts.
Luis Rodriguez, he's rated the 3rd best community college kicker in the class of 2025. He was named an All-American. He received multiple times Special Teams Player of the Week honors. In one game he was 5 for 5 on field goals. One game he was 4 for 4. He did miss 3 extra points in his field goals. He was 21 of 25, and he nailed a 54-yarder in a big game. It's not like this kid is coming in having to really develop this leg and hasn't kicked meaningful kicks in his career. It's not like he's inexperienced. I mean, this was a sneaky good pickup, I think. But it's still hard to say how good it was until we see him in action. So I'm just saying, though, let's not, as we stand right now, think that's the scenario that's going to take place in 18 days, where the job is still up for grabs or anything like that. I think we're going to settle in and somebody's going to grab that job. K-State has a couple of options. Just let the guys get healed up, get over their soreness, and get back out there. Nothing to sweat over. Just hope special teams can somehow just grind itself out and get better compared to the last couple of years, especially in coverage. Let's take a break, and when we come back, let's get to some Jabroni of the Week. It's going to be a little bit different this week. A little bit different. A predictable one maybe, but it's a Jabroni with just a ton of layers. It is an onion of Jabron. When we come back, this is the game on KMAN.
Your home for K-State sports.
Deflected and intercepted. Justin McKinney with the interception. I just can't believe that play call.
This is the game on News Radio KMAN.
Here's something you might not expect. The Manhattan Mercury and Manhattan Broadcasting now offer blueprint printing and scanning. We've been printing locally for over 100 years, and now we're putting that expertise to work for your plans. We do same-day turnaround, can pick up or deliver. And our pricing? Yeah, it beats the big guys. If you're in need, email blueprints@themercury.com or call 776-1350. Local businesses helping local businesses. That's how we grow together.
American Family Insurance.
At American Family Insurance, your small business is a big deal to us. You face challenges and you work hard to achieve your goals. As your American Family agent and business owner right here in your community, I've faced that too. I've built my business with the vision of helping you protect yours. Contact us today to see how we can protect what you've worked so hard to build with customized coverage that fits your needs. This is Rob Wild, agent at Wild & Associates, LLC.
American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
It wasn't long ago that air conditioning wasn't a standard luxury item found in businesses and homes. Can you imagine life without it now? The heating and air industry has changed through the years, but one company has remained constant since 1981. For over 40 years, M&S Plumbing has kept Manhattan and the surrounding communities cool. M&S repairs all brands and offers 24-hour emergency service. So if your AC needs serviced, call on a name you can trust.
Call the experts who care. M&S Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Stormont Vale Health is your go-to for exceptional care right in your own neighborhood.
The Flint Hills campus in Junction City is open 24/7 with a full-service hospital and rural health clinic. You'll find primary care and advanced lab services at our Wamego clinic to keep your family healthy without the drive. Our Manhattan campus offers a wide range of primary and specialty providers, plus imaging and lab services, and a pick-me-up at Radina's inside our campus. Visit stormontvale.org.
Stormont Vale Health. High-quality care closer to home.
The Native community is big for me. Makes me feel good to pass on our Rapo traditions. My kids love going up to the Sundance. I like to tell people the Sundance is about family. It's about the tribe. It's not just about the dancer. It's kind of like life. As a Sundancer, I'm just one spoke in the wheel. I need my family there. I need my role models. I need my people there, especially my children. You know, coming in that door, my family is ready to see me and they believe in me. Before, I'd never seen that from my people. But now when I walk in that door and I see those smiling faces and they're happy to see me, that's special. With my 4 kids, all I ask for them in Arapaho ways is health and happiness. Nothing more, nothing less.
Never stop being a dad. That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Mommy, can I sit in the front seat just this one time? Please, please, please.
No, not yet.
But why?
Because I love you, and you're just not ready yet. Now, get in the back so I can get you in your car seat, please.
Putting your kids in the right seat for their age and size is an act of love. Check that your kids are in the right seat at NHTSA.gov/the right seat. Love protects. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Kansas City Chiefs football is back.
Mahomes, clean pocket. Going long, left, and it's caught! Left side, touchdown! Kansas City! The Chiefs go for a 44-yard bomb!
Saturday, live from State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. It's the Chiefs and Cardinals. Pre-game starts at 6 here on your home for Kansas City Chiefs football.
Your home for the Kansas City Chiefs. News Radio KMAN. News Radio KMAN. Weather.
Plenty of sun, wind, and temperatures near 90s over the next couple of days. Tomorrow, a high near 92, wind gusting as high as 25 out of the south. Tomorrow night, mostly clear and a low around 74. Wind gusting as high as 25 with a high near 96, and sunny skies on Thursday with an overnight low of 77. Wind gusting as high as 30 on Friday, highs of 98. Right now, 90 degrees in the Manhattan area.
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
You jabronis hit the jackpot.
That Hollywood blonde jabroni, Hulk Hogan.
Al, is this jabroni's name?
Jabroni of the week.
All right, as you know, how it typically works is 3 dishonorable mentions. We'll finish up with my official jabroni of the week, but this week I wanted to do it just a little bit different. Because of what this event is being called, it is just layer after layer after layer of just absolute disappointment. And my jabroni of the week, I'm just going to get right to it. is going to go to Major League Baseball and Bristol Motor Speedway into something I thought right out of the gate was just a dumb idea. Why do we need to do this? Why is this a thing? And what that was is this past weekend they held the Speedway Classic, a baseball game, inside Bristol Motor Speedway that featured the Atlanta Braves versus the Cincinnati Reds. All right, so let's get to the game. They sold a lot of tickets. I'll give them that. If you're familiar with Bristol, it's a smaller racetrack. Huge infield, though. I mean, it can fit a football field. It fit a whole baseball stadium, just about. They put in temporary stands on the side that goes down the third base line, kind of wraps around the first base line, has a press box and everything. They sold tickets that you couldn't even see the game from the actual Bristol Motor Speedway stands. Like you're sitting behind the press box. You cannot see the field, and they were going for over $100. That's one of the layers. Too much money for not seeing anything other than just being in the stadium for a, first of its kind event. And then the rain. I mean, this game was supposed to start at 6:30. It didn't start until 8:41, so over a 2-hour delay. They play like an inning and a half, and the thing gets rained out. But a huge problem as well on top of that. The concession stands. An absolute mess. You ever been to a baseball game where they run out of hot dogs? Well, they were running out of hot dogs, but what they ran out of first was hot dog buns. So they're just giving you the hot dog.
Straight glizzy is crazy.
Just a straight up hot dog. They put it in a little what do you want to call it? Little container.
The boat.
Yeah, the boat, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Just the hot dog.
That's criminal.
They were serving nacho chips with cheese, jalapenos, all the toppings, except they had absolutely no toppings to go along with the chips. It was just plain old chips.
Not even cheese?
Nope, no cheese. Ran out of popcorn, ran out of Cracker Jacks, ran out of all the good stuff. They had nothing. I don't know if they had beer. I don't know what the situation was on the beer. They finally get the game going a little bit. People go back to their seat. It's still raining. They got to call the game. They have to call it till tomorrow. People are just so pissed at this point. It's been a disaster. This is terrible. This is not what they paid for. And I know Mother Nature can disrupt baseball sometimes. It happens. That's some rough timing, some bad luck. But then people are trying to get back to their cars. Well, at Bristol, they have to shuttle in a lot of people. There's not a lot of parking around Bristol. Well, the shuttles are all backed up. It took literally 3 to 4 hours for people just to get to their car, not counting getting out of the parking lot, wherever they were. Just an absolute nightmare. They were able to play the game the next day. I would say of the thousands of people that were there to actually see the game the night it was scheduled, but it got rained out, there was maybe 10 to 15% of the people that were originally there that came back to watch the game. It was a logistical, it was a Mother Nature, it was the planning, the overselling of tickets, the no view seating, like everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. It was an absolute disaster. So Major League Baseball and Bristol Motor Speedway are my Jabroni of the week.
Have you seen those posts on social media where, like the one example that comes to the top of my mind is a photo taken of Busch Stadium in St. Louis from the top of the Gateway Arch, and it's like, come on, ump, that's a strike.
Yeah.
That would be a fitting time to do that when you're taking a picture of the back of the press box at the Speedway when you can't see anything that's happening on the field.
It was estimated, I saw somebody pull this up, it was estimated about 5,000 tickets were sold where you could not see this field at all. Like, why are we selling these tickets?
Yeah, that's a terrible plan. At least sell them on like the other side of the stadium or something so you can see the field, Well, in 90% of the seating, you're at least 50 yards. I mean, at least had to be more than that. 50, 70 yards, 70, 80 yards away
from the actual stadium that it was in the infield. If you're in the actual racetrack seating.
It's a little bit like Final Fours in Houston where it's at NRG Stadium and the stands just go so far back where
but there was no big screen.
Yeah, that's rough.
And on top of that, if you're sitting low enough in the racetrack seating, well, at those racetracks, there's these big fences, these big cages to protect you in case there's a big crash. Car parts go flying, car goes flying to protect everybody. And that's not the easiest to see through either. So just more obstructions on top of obstructions. From the get-go, from the announcement, I just didn't think this was a good idea. And then the pictures came out, and the majority of the seating, you're a mile away from the field. It's just...
So not the...
I'm just amazed they got 91,000 tickets sold for that.
91,000?
91,000.
That's insane. And I bet, like you said, the view cannot be great. For one, you're not very high up. Obviously at a major league stadium, the stands just go up. And so you can still see the field pretty well. You're just farther away from the action.
People on social media, if you're familiar with the Fire Fest that took place on a private island, if you watch the documentary, you know what I'm talking about. It was supposed to be a music festival. They're calling it the Fire Fest of sports. It was so bad. But they actually had an event. That's the only difference. At Fire Fest, the music festival, where the guy that put it on ended up going to federal prison, he'd never had an event. There was never one instrument that was played at that festival. They did get the game, but it took 2 days to complete.
So I can assume we're not going to see part 2 of that next year. Is that fair to think?
Oh, I bet they try it again. They made a ton of money.
Just need to up the concessions amount is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, an extra couple of semi-trucks of hot dogs, and they should be able to get by. Everybody will be happy then. We got to wrap up Hour 1, short Hour 2 up next. K-State swing game of 2025 after these words.
Tweet the game, KMAN, or call 537-1350 and get in touch with the show. This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
Can you help me access my work computer now that I'm working from home?
We can do that. Is it possible for you to troubleshoot my computer without me coming into your store? We can do that.
I'm getting messages that my password's been compromised by hackers.
We can.
And that I have malware installed.
We can.
I don't even go to the mall.
We can do all of that.
Fox Business Systems business level support. We can do that.
Call 776-1452 or stop by 531 Fort Riley Boulevard. WeBuildSolutions.com.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
You've heard the expression, it's what's on the inside that counts. At Schultz Construction, they couldn't agree more. Starting with the foundation and everything inside the walls, Schultz Construction is committed to making sure the things you don't see in a house are as good as the finishing touches you do see. From custom homes to commercial buildings, Schultz Construction takes pride in their quality control from start to finish. Schultz Construction, building trusted relationships through the development of quality neighborhoods.
A new roof, not something you think about every day. Good thing Buck does. Call Buck Roofing for your free, no-obligation estimate today and live comfortably under your new roof. 785-230-9379. Buck Roofing, serving Kansas for almost 20 years.
75 years strong. Bringing the news, sports, weather, and conversation. News Radio, KMAN, Manhattan.
CBS News Brief. For the second day in a row, Texas Democrats have prevented their state's House of Representatives from moving forward with a redrawn congressional map.
DPS is actively working to compel their attendance after I signed their civil arrest warrants yesterday, and will continue to do so until those members are back in this chamber.
A new FBI report says violent crime in the U.S. fell 4.5% last year. Anna Schechter reports cities are being credited.
The Chicago police superintendent credits new technologies, gun detection technology, and things like that.
Meteorologist Grant Gilmore has been tracking the smoke from Canadian wildfires.
Over 700 still burning, several out of control, and that's reducing the air quality across 12 states.
Air quality is also a concern in the West. The massive Gifford fire in California was threatening 800 structures. CBS News Brief, I'm Cammie McCormick.
Now, the latest news from the News Radio KMAN and Manhattan Mercury Newsroom.
City officials to consider the sale of property for a new economic development project. RCPD is investigating after a woman was struck while riding an e-scooter, and the Kansas Court of Appeals rules in favor of Pottawatomie County over a quarry dispute. Hello, everyone. I'm Brandon Peoples with a look at local news here on this Tuesday evening. The Manhattan City Commission tonight will be considering a $5 million project within the Manhattan Business Park. The City Commission will enter into an executive session at tonight's meeting where they'll consider the sale of 8.5 acres located adjacent to the Manhattan Regional Airport to Topeka-based Torgerson Electric Company. According to the Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce, Torgerson is expected to build a $5 million new facility and add up to 25 new jobs. The company specializes in electrical services across commercial, industrial, civil, and residential sectors. It would be the second significant project announced within the business park this year, after the city earlier this year approved the sale of 16 acres to Amazon. That was done back in May. The City Commission will meet tonight at 6 o'clock in City Hall. Authorities are investigating after a woman was struck while riding an electric scooter Monday afternoon in Manhattan. The Riley County Police Department says 36-year-old Ashley Crow was transported by ambulance to Via Christi Hospital with just minor injuries. However, police say the vehicle that struck Crow fled the area, and they're currently asking anyone that may have information to contact RCPD or Crime Stoppers. The Pottawatomie County Commission's decision to approve a conditional use permit for a rock quarry in the north central part of the county was affirmed on Friday by the Kansas Court of Appeals. The commission previously approved a conditional use permit for Mid-States Materials to quarry gravel from part of the land which sits on 853 acres just south of Wheaton. This despite protests from neighbors and area representatives. Pottawatomie County District Court Judge Jeff Elder affirmed the commission's decision to approve the permit back in 2023 following an appeal from one neighbor, James Pearson. Well, Pearson took his case to the Kansas Court of Appeals, which affirmed Elder's ruling, saying the decision-making process was fair and that all concerned had the opportunity to express their views and offer evidence in support of their views. County Councilor Bernard Irvine spoke about the ruling at Monday's commission meeting.
I think we were pretty confident in the outcome of this case based upon the facts, based upon the law, and really, I don't think that the Court of Appeals had a hard time deciding this case.
The land is owned by Mid-States Materials. It's zoned the same as all of the surrounding properties, A1 Agriculture. After losing nearly $1 million in state and federal funding, Manhattan Area Technical College is facing some significant financial headwinds this year. President Jim Jeanette says the cuts, which took effect on July 1st, have hit technical colleges especially hard since they lack the local tax revenue streams that support other higher education institutions.
We lost almost 20% in state and federal appropriations due to efficiency cuts without looking at impact. Those cuts are 5 times harder on us.
Despite the setback, Jeanette says MATC is strengthening its partnerships with local employers, expanding programs, and seeking new ways to demonstrate its value to the community. He suggests shifting to a funding model that rewards measurable outcomes, such as job placement, industry credentials, and local economic impact.
Our return is over 1,200% more than what we take in through public funding because we provide that local workforce that stays in the area. They're employees, taxpayers, consumers.
Jeanette was a recent guest on Within Reason with Mike Mattson, heard weekday mornings at 9 a.m. on News Radio KMAN. State Senator Cindy Holscher recently expressed frustration with behind-the-scenes involvement of Governor Laura Kelly's staff in attempting to influence who launched a campaign for the Kansas Democratic Party's nomination for governor next year. Holscher says she was among 3 Democrats in the Kansas Senate told by the Kelly administration to stand aside so the Democratic primary voters would be more likely to nominate Lawrence attorney Chris Mann in the race to determine who would succeed Kelly. Holscher says she, as well as Senators Dinah Sykes and Ethan Corson, were initially discouraged from impeding Mann's path in the August 2026 primary. Last week, Mann announced his candidacy for Attorney General. Kelly has since thrown her support behind Corson. Sykes remains on the sideline. Will Lawrence, Kelly's chief of staff, says Kelly met with potential candidates to offer advice, but has denied that Kelly discouraged them to run.
KMAN Morning News brought to you by L&L Advisors. Local, genuine, and here for you.
News Radio KMAN weather.
Plenty of sunshine, heat, and wind over the next couple of days in Manhattan. Starting tomorrow, mostly sunny and a high near 92. Wind gusting as high as 25. Wednesday night, mostly clear and a low around 74. Thursday, sunny with a high near 96. Wind gusting as high as 25 again out of the south. Mostly clear with a low around 77 Thursday night. Sunny and hot, a high near 98 on Friday. Right now, 89 degrees. Wind out of the southeast at 13 miles per hour.
Weather on News Radio KMAN is brought to you by Sunset Zoo. Memberships are a fun way to experience the zoo. Pick up your membership and enjoy the Sunset Zoo all year long.
Hey now. Boy, I hope you didn't rob our podcasts and listeners and our YouTube viewers of that glorious song you just played back for us to come into hour number 2.
You know, the green dot's not on Edition, so they didn't get to hear that minute or so of every time we touch. I do want to keep the YouTube video still up there, you know?
Yeah, because if we play any copyright music, the first country that cuts us out, Russia. You know, we love our viewers and listeners in Russia.
Shout out to you, listening in Moscow.
Shout out to you. Play a little Cascada every time we touch. I have to say that should be our basketball Friday song. Basketball season Friday song.
I like that a lot.
Well, every time we touch. All right, it's hour 2 of the game, the short hour number 2 of the game after work. Mitch Fortner and Cole Dutchendorf with you until 5:30. If you miss hour 1 of the show, some injury updates on K-State football. Nothing to be too concerned about. Just a few guys a little bit on the shelf there for a minute for a various number of reasons, including it appears that Lincoln Cure, a little bit banged up. He was seen in a leg brace, but it's nothing. Hopefully nothing too serious as far as we understand. So we'll maybe get an update on Lincoln tomorrow with Van Malone, who will speak to the media. Heard from Nate Kaczor, K-State Special Teams Coordinator. And if you miss any of the show, you can always go back to YouTube and watch the show there. Or, of course, we podcast our show on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast. Just search for The Game on 1350 KMAN. A couple of things before we get to K-State swing game for 2025. Breaking news, some K-State breaking news here. They've released what they're going to do for Dublin when it comes to doing something different with the uniform for Ireland. Throwing that little twist into the uniform. We've seen every team pretty much do it. One of my favorites was when Northwestern, they turned the N on their helmet to the Irish flag. And I thought that was pretty cool. K-State going to keep it, I think, pretty simple. They're going to put the Irish flag on the back of the helmet above the Big 12 logo. On the numbers side, which is to the left of the American flag, is going to be a 3-leaf clover. And then the stripe of the helmet, that's the big change. It's going to be what I believe you can call it a Celtic knot design. It's pretty sweet looking. But it appears that's what we're going to be doing, yeah. There's a lot of variations of what they call like a Celtic knot. I think that's like a generic thing to call it. I retweeted it at Mitch the Four on Twitter, or K-State Football on their Twitter account. They have it out there. Go check it out. I think it's pretty sweet, and I can't wait to use it in College Football 27 video game.
I think they're doing something while not doing too much, while not doing nothing. I think it's a pretty happy medium for K-State. They're not, throwing green into their jerseys or anything, but still giving a nod to Ireland and maybe some of that heritage. So it's pretty cool.
All right, another piece of breaking news that came out a little bit ago. I'm seeing it for the first time. I give a shout out to Troy who brought this to my attention. It appears, Will Howard is having a great training camp with the Steelers. But it appears he left practice earlier today with a right hand injury. He is a righty, and it looks like he hurt his throwing hand today at practice. He did leave practice today on a cart, so most likely leaving to get an x-ray or whatever. Don't have any updates on that. But as soon as he left, Skylar Thompson started to take over and work with the third string. And first of all, just kind of saying that paragraph right there, kind of a weird thing to say because it used to be Skylar Thompson going down with an injury. Here comes Will Howard. That happened a couple of times. Now it's the other way around. If Will is seriously hurt, this could save Skylar. This could save Skylar to stay with the Steelers. Because most likely, as of the way things stand right now with, of course, Aaron Rodgers and Mason Rudolph, Skylar's probably getting cut. And I would think... Will would make the roster, I would assume, in some sort of fashion. Skylar would probably get cut. This may change things, but we don't know how serious it is.
This is from a Steelers beat writer named Mark Kaboli, said that he's hearing it's a finger injury and not expected to be serious.
Skylar, you're back on the hot seat, bud.
But it also puts his preseason week 1 status in doubt.
Yeah, he may not play. He may not play. But I'm hearing amazing things about Will at training camp.
I think he's been doing pretty good.
All right, let's get to today's question. 20 questions and 20 shows to preview the 2025 K-State football season. Today's question is swing game. A swing game it's a crucial game where the outcome can significantly impact a team's momentum and potential outcome for the postseason. And I think there's a lot of candidates for this season in what can be kind of a make-or-break situation. Or, you could go as far as stubbing your toe and you can recover, or it could be pretty damning and it could keep you out of the Big 12 championship game or even the race, depending on where you're at, depending on the circumstances. Depends on how you feel like the season is going to go, of what might end up being your swing game. So, Cole, lead us off. Give me your thoughts. What's going to be your official swing game for K-State in 2025?
So I'll start with what my actual game is, and then I'll give 2 more that I think you could throw into that discussion. And what I think is that the biggest swing game of the season is going to be on the road, early in Big 12 play, on the road at Waco, taking on Baylor. That's what I went with my swing game, and I'll kind of lay out some reasons for a win and for a loss, why this could heavily impact your season, even though it is pretty early in Big 12 play. If you win this game, these next few points are going to be with a win. You've won probably your toughest or second toughest road game of the season. Throw Utah in there as a really good team that you're going to have to go down to Utah and beat them on the road. But Baylor, at least preseason projections, we think they're going to be a pretty solid team. So you throw Baylor or Utah, probably going to be your 2 toughest road games of the year. So if you can win that one on the road early in Big 12 play, that's going to bode well for you down the stretch. You've either bounced back from a loss in Ireland or you've most likely moved yourself to 3-0 in Big 12 12 play. I'm just kind of counting that UCF home game as a win right now. Iowa State, obviously, a lot more 50-50 on that one. But again, you either put yourself in a better position after losing in Ireland and move to 2-1, or you've gotten out to a great start. You've beaten a couple of contenders for the Big 12 race to Arlington, and you're at 3-0 through 3 games in Big 12 play. That would be a great start. Also, positive momentum for yourselves heading back home against what's going to be probably a solid TCU team, as you have a home game before a bye week. So just another springboard into the rest of the season as you give yourself a week of rest after the following game against TCU. You'd only have 3 road games left on the schedule, one of which is just a bus trip over to Lawrence against KU. So you're taking, again, this is one of your most difficult road trips of the season. And then finally, you've given yourself pretty much a 2-game lead on Baylor, who we think will probably contend in the Big 12. And the rest of their schedule is pretty easy. They don't play a lot of what I think are going to be the contenders in the Big 12 this season. So if you can give yourself essentially a 2-game lead over Baylor, who should be in the mix given who they have on their schedule and who they have on their roster, that would be a great start in Big 12 play. Now, with a loss, on the inverse of that, if you lose to Baylor, you've put yourself in a 2-game hole, again, against a team who doesn't have it's a pretty cake schedule. They don't have a ton of great teams on their schedule. You're either 1-2 now in conference play, with obviously if you lose in Ireland and then against Baylor, or 2-1. 2-1's not as difficult to bounce back from. 1-2 in Big 12 play, you're like, it's panic time for the team. And then momentum, if you lose, would be stopped after what should be at least a 4-game win streak with Notre Dame, Army, Arizona, and UCF. You lose that, you have to go back home, reset against TCU. Those are all the reasons why I think this is a huge swing game in the early part of Big 12 play for K-State. The other 2 games that I kind of threw in this category, home against Texas Tech, probably your most difficult home opponent. Don't really know exactly what to expect with them, but we know they have a lot of talent at the very least. So I think that's going to be an important game. It's near the tail end of the season. I think it's second to last home game before you go on the 2-game stretch at Oklahoma State and Utah. So that's going to be a big one. And then also Iowa State. I think Iowa State is, it kind of goes without saying, it's an extremely important game. You're playing a rival in a different country, the first Big 12 game of the season for anyone. I think that is hugely, hugely important. Not to say that a loss kills the season, but I do think if you can get a win, that definitely springboards the start of your year.
I think any game away from Manhattan can fall into this kind of category, with the exception of Arizona. I don't think Arizona's going to be very good. And it's officially a non-conference game.
Yeah, loss doesn't kill you in Arizona.
Unless you can sell. Well, and I mean, look at it this way. We want K-State in the college football playoff. Winning the Big 12 gets you in the college football playoff. It's not like extremely unlikely that the Big 12 can get 2 teams in. It all depends. But the Big 12 can get 2 teams in. I don't want to play it out that way. I want the Cats to win the Big 12, and I want to get that automatic bid for the college football playoff. So you got to get there. So how many losses can K-State take? I would say you want no more than 2. Absolutely no more than 2. So where are those losses coming from? You mentioned the game that comes up on the schedule that worries me right now the most, with the exception of maybe the KU game. Because I'm nervous about a game in Lawrence with a lot of Kansas kids that are in pretty big roles and know how big this game is. A lot of nerves for that game. First time in like 20 years. K-State will have a quarterback from Kansas as the guy to try to go win a game there. But anyway, but Baylor's not my pick, even though I think that's a big game. If that's K-State's first loss of the year, you're not in a bad spot. That's going to be a tough game. It's not unwinnable. It's going to be a slobber knocker. It's going to be a tough game. So going down the road then, where is K-State most likely to decide their fate? I got to go to the month of November. Because the month of November has been Chris Kleiman's biggest bugaboo. I went back and looked at the previous 6 seasons. And if you combine August and September games, regular season, of course, he's 18-6. October, middle of the year, 16-6. But if you look at November, and I think there was one time there was a December regular season game, you combine all those games, and Chris Kleiman is 11-14. it's the last couple of years in the month of November that has kept K-State out of a Big 12 championship race and out of the Big 12 championship game. It's by going 2-2 a couple of years ago and last year going 1-3. They lost their chance because they couldn't get it done late in the year. Well, to get there, you got to do it this year. And to me, the big swing game is the penultimate game of the regular season, and that is at Utah. First of all, a lot of writers are putting Utah in their top 25. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see Utah show up in the preseason top 25 of the AP poll. Devin Dampier is making that kind of impact. Their new, Beck, the new offensive coordinator who was there with Dampier at New Mexico, big spread, big RPO guy. Very athletic quarterback. When he's on, he is on, as long as he's not sloppy with the interceptions. He's a very good quarterback. They should have a pretty stout defense. Utah this year could be what they should have been the last couple of years, a really good football team. I'm not counting out a Kyle Whittingham team. That's going to be a tough team. And by the way, Rice-Eccles Stadium, it's one of the toughest places to play in the Big 12. And K-State, I don't know if they've ever played there before. Not in my lifetime has that ever happened. That's going to be a really tough place to play. It'll most likely be a Big 12 after dark situation is my guess. So a night game, a really riled up crowd, that's going to be tough. But think what's going to be on the line as well. That game is most likely going to decide, is K-State in the Big 12 championship game or not? Are they legit? Can they get there? Will probably be decided in Salt Lake City. And Utah's going to be good. Wrapped around there is a game at Oklahoma State, which is also a big game. You have Texas Tech to start November, then you finish up at home against Colorado. Utah, to me, is that toughest game because you're on the road at a very tough environment. I would assume K-State the next week could get it done against Colorado and work their way into the Big 12 championship. So to me, where the Big 12 championship game is decided for K-State is Rice-Eccles Stadium. So to me, that's the swing game. Utah is going to be a tough one. And at that point, with how good K-State should be and what's going to be on the line, even if it's less on the line for Utah, I don't care what their record is going to be or who their quarterback is or how banged up they are. K-State's going to be banged up too. Everything is going to be on the line at that point. Everybody is playing championship football at that time of the year.
You know, I'm just now realizing that K-State loses the game closest to my birthday over the last couple of years. Since I've been a student.
When's your birthday?
It's November 4th. So you go back to 2022. That was the home loss to Texas. The year after that, the road loss against Texas, and then last year against Houston. So this year it's Texas Tech, and we just got to hope that they can get the job done at home.
We'll know by then if they're frauds or not, or if they just wasted a bunch of money, or they made the best investment of their lives.
And hopefully it is the latter.
We take a timeout. That is our swing games for 2025. Cole says Baylor. That game is on October 4th, and I have November 22nd at Utah. Ask Us Anything wraps up the show next.
You're listening to The Game on News Radio KMAN.
Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Center offers innovative, cutting-edge physical therapy from blood flow restriction rehabilitation, dry needling, DARI-A biochemical movement analysis, fall prevention, and return to sport. OSMC Physical Therapy has over 75 years of combined treatment experience and deliver a successful and positive outcome while making the rehabilitation process pleasant and enjoyable. At Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Physical Therapy, no referrals are needed to schedule your therapy appointment. For more information, visit us at kansasortho.com.
In Manhattan, building community means more than bricks and beams. It means innovation and partnership. At McCown Gordon Construction, we deliver feature-focused solutions to projects that shape our region. From advanced research labs to vibrant education, healthcare, and community hubs. We're not just building projects, we're building the future of the Flint Hills with unmatched customer experience and value-driven strategies. We're building for tomorrow. Visit kansas.mccown-gordon.com.
The Trust Company is an independent, locally owned wealth management and investment company founded right here in Manhattan in 1992. The experienced professionals at the Trust Company are recruited specifically for their financial, legal, accounting, and business expertise. They're also your neighbors who, guided by your hopes and dreams, will continue to deeply understand your aspirations and goals. The Trust Company, locally owned, client-focused. Our only allegiance is to you. Visit thetrustco.com.
Hi, it's Laura, your new store manager at Ashley's Clearance Center, 8370 East Highway 24 in Manhattan. Come see me Wednesday through Saturday from 10:30 to 5:30. We've got new inventory arriving daily, from closeouts to one-of-a-kind scratch and dent treasures, all at unbeatable prices. Come say hi and discover the deals waiting just for you.
We are the keepers of the wild, America's original and most invested conservationists. For more than 80 years, we've been committed to conserving wildlife and the natural landscapes that define our nation. From rugged alpine ridgelines to peaceful tall grass prairies, we've supported the conservation of more than 36 million acres of American wildlands. Our funding has led to cleaner water, fresher air, and improved wildlife habitat. From abundant fish and waterfowl populations to robust deer and elk herds, nothing is more important than maintaining wild spaces for adventurers to explore and wildlife to thrive. We are America's hunters and target shooters, stewards of the American outdoors.
America's hunters and target shooters, along with firearm, ammunition, and archery manufacturers, have invested more than $46 billion to help state fish and wildlife agencies manage and protect wildlife and wildlands across America. For more information, visit outdoorstewards.org.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
The Ramsey Show.
The problem is the stupid banks will loan you so much money that they put you in bankruptcy because they don't have an off button. They'll just loan you money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can go get a credit card, you can go on a trip you can't afford, you can go down here and get a car. You know, there's actually people out there walking around that still think that if the bank will loan it to you, it means you can pay
afford it.
The same people that think if you have checks left in your checkbook, there must be money in the account.
Mm-hmm.
Same people.
Life and money advice. The Ramsey Show, weekdays from 10 to 1 on News Radio KMAN.
All right, Mitch, my question for today, you mentioned there's some Little League on right now, so I'm going to...
Yeah, they stink.
What's the score over there?
It's like 8-5 in the second inning, and it's just errors galore.
So my question for you, we're going to drop you into a Little League game right now. You are the starting pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
What's your stat line?
I go probably 1 inning, and I probably strike everybody out in that first inning, and I come in for the second, can't throw a strike to save my life. Because that was literally what I would do when I played Little League Baseball. I played up until I was a freshman in high school, so I played 3 years of kid pitch, and I pitched, but I was like, I could only go an inning. I don't know what it was. Like, I had really good command, really good stuff for 1 inning, and I come out for a second.
So a great reliever.
And it just goes away. Yeah, I'm good for 3 outs.
You know, I think if I'm dropped in there right now, I'm going like 2 1/3. I'm walking like 6 probably. I think I can limit the damage done in terms of the bats. I think I give up like, let's say 3 hits. So we're talking like 4 earned runs, 6 walks, 4 hits, and 1 pickoff. That was the one thing I could do. I could pick off a batter to third base. So, you know, I walk the bases loaded and then pick off the guy at third, and then we're chilling. You know, I think I feel pretty comfortable with that. What about in the batter's box?
Yeah, if I was pulled from a game, I would go play at another position or whatever. I was okay bat. Like, you know, I probably hit around 300. I got on base. I was really good at getting on base. Kind of a funny story. When I pitched, I was like in 5th or 6th grade. I pulled myself from a game one time just because I just didn't have it. My dad was coaching, and he was going to keep me in a little bit longer than he should have. So I went to glove. I was like, please come get me. I don't have it today. Take me out. Put me in left field.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
All right, we got to wrap it up. We're back for an hour and a half tomorrow. We got KSO. We got the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holtis, and question number 8 of 20, leading to kickoff 18 days from now in Dublin. For Cole, I'm Mitch. Go Cats.